What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it is just so heartbreaking to bring you this news, to ruin your day with just another tale of getting woke and having it destroy your life. It would appear that Rachel Zegler's career is basically over. Her new project has flopped before it's even open, and her Snow Brown remake has now gone down as one of the biggest flops in Disney history. Will she learn? No, I think hammerhead sharks are notoriously stubborn, and Rachel Zegler seems to be following that same pattern. But I'm here to bring you the news, and that's exactly what I'm going to do after a super quick word from this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Shout out to this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, if you aren't using a VPN yet, you're completely missing out, and Private Internet Access is the one I use on all of my devices. If you've been following the news, you see that censorship, websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private Internet Access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers, and others that can view your personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, Private Internet Access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located, and some shows simply cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the content that you're paying for. Private Internet Access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time, so your entire household with a single subscription. And I've been working with Private Internet Access so long that I have an absolutely massive discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get Private Internet Access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for, and ensure that your internet is never censored. Rachel Zegler's new project has now flopped before it even opens. Empty seats everywhere. Following Disney White's Snow White absolutely tanking at the box office, Rachel Zegler's next new project looks to be an even bigger flop before it even opens. Rachel Zegler, 23, is set to star as Eva Perón in Evita, a revival of the 1978 Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice musical, known for iconic musical score, which includes Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. I don't know anything about it, but it's way before my time. Well, it turns out it's becoming very similar to Snow White. Nobody is buying tickets. In an article published by the Daily Mail, Rachel Zegler keeps a low profile as woke Snow White disaster worsens. It's pointed out that her play has not sold a lot of tickets. However, one glance at a ticketing website reveals just how few seats have sold for the ambitious production opening in just 60 days. Sure enough, checking the venue's website, a lot of empty seats and zero sellouts, Daily Mail adds. June, July, August, and September are all awash with green good availability for starting tickets at just $29 inside the 2,200 seat venue. Here's a screenshot showing now there are a few Saturdays that look a little yellow, but there are plenty of tickets available. The play doesn't open for a couple months, but again, with only a couple thousand seats and ticket prices so cheap, it's probably something to be concerned about. Snow White is one of Disney's biggest tanks ever. With a reported budget of nearly $300 million, it hasn't even grossed $200 million after being in theaters for over a month. As of Tuesday, the domestic box office for Snow White is only $85 million, and the foreign gross is $109 million. The worldwide gross is at $194.5 million. Snow White's tanking follows controversial comments from Rachel Zegler about, how she hates half the country, her political comments about Palestine, and those against President Trump and his supporters. Look, again, she's allowed to not like President Trump, but, maybe don't attack his supporters. You see, rewriting the fairy tale, the Rachel Zegler backlash, and what Disney got wrong. It's been a month since Walt Disney Studios released the musical fantasy film Snow White, starring loser Rachel Zegler as a title character and co-starring Gal Gadot as the evil queen. This is the fifth live-action reimagining for a classic Disney fairy tale. The film has garnered so much controversy and dismal reviews, with review brigading on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, not for the judgment of the story, but for the external circumstances regarding the reputation of the lead actress. Look, I would argue that in 2025, when it costs you $75 to take your family to the movies, maybe $100 a family of four, you got to be careful about who you give your money to. Back when you could go see a matinee for $2.50 and get popcorn for $1, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. But now who's in the movie matters to people for the same reason that Hollywood told you it should matter. Look, the Hollywood actresses who are going to be complaining about receiving some consequences for their actions, they're the ones that told you you're supposed to care about their political opinions, not me. I grew up in an era when I didn't know any of my favorite actresses. I don't know who Chuck Norris voted for. I don't know who Steven Seagal voted for. I don't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger voted for. I don't know who any of these people in the movies that I watched when I was growing up. Even now, I don't really know the political leanings of maybe someone like Timothy Olyphant, and I don't care. Justify was maybe one of my all-time favorite series. The fact of the matter is, I don't care, but Hollywood told you to care. Hollywood is the one that placed them squarely in what matters. Also, it's official. Fantastic Four has a Rachel Zegler problem. MCU films stars keep alienating patrons, but Pascal may be the worst case yet. Hollywood stars learned little from Zegler Gate. Rising star Rachel Zegler helped tank her own movie, Snow White, first by trashing the source material, and later by alienating half the country. This is via Christian Toto. Her comments got endless media attention, both of the legacy and new media variety. You couldn't escape it, and none of it helped lure fans to see the live-action update. And it's happening again. The stars of the Fantastic Four first steps took a page from Zegler's playbook. First, two of the four main stars disparaged the source material. Joseph Quinn, aka Johnny Storm, called the character sexist in a press interview and assuring moviegoers that the new Johnny would be enlightened. He's a man that leads with a lot of bravado, which can be an affront sometimes, but he's also funny. Myself and Marvel Studio bosses were speaking about previous iterations of him that were culturally and where we are culturally. He was branded as this womanizing devil-may-care guy, but is that sexy these days? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's always been. So again, this eye-rolling Comic-Con nation began, and it began to kick into higher gear after the Invisible Woman, aka Vanessa Kirby, also took a stab at attacking the beloved comic book series. If you played an exact 60s suit today, everyone would think she's a bit of a doormat. So figuring out how to capture the essence of what she represented in each generation, and where gender politics were different, and embody that today was one of the greatest joys of this. So long story short, do not pay to see Fantastic Four. Obviously, Pedro Pascal is also a woke dork who went after, who's obsessed with trans people. He must have some weird fetish with them. And, he's going after, J.K. Rowling. And by the way, the world is kind of bored with Pedro Pascal. I mean, it all started when he demanded to take his mask off in The Mandalorian, just because he wanted more FaceTime, even though that went against everything that The Mandalorian's code was. Again, these woke actors cannot get out of their own way. How about this? Here's the original Daily Mail article. Rachel Zegler keeps a low profile as woke Snow White disaster worsens. Zegler went makeup-free to walk her dog Lenny around New York City neighborhood on Monday after reaching out to fans with his mysterious illness. Now stick around because we're going to be talking about how that's backfired. The Snow White starlet, turning 24 on May 3rd, was dressed down in a baggy double denim ensemble. Don't care. Rachel's cell phone case reading, "People can do hard things," was a quote from Lady Gaga's motivational commencement speech in the class of 2020 at North Carolina State. Wow, it's so profound. People can do hard things. Wow, I would never have thought that until Lady Gaga said it. And then that moron Rachel Zegler bought a phone case with it on. On Sunday, Zegler was pulling her hair out trying to figure out how to help her 2-year-old miniature golden doodle who was spraying crazy, hot, fiery brown water all over her apartment and had a loss of appetite. It's probably Giardia. I wonder if the woke left who went after Ethan Klein's dog for having Giardia might suggest that to her. After 3 emergency room trips to the veterinarian, little Lenny, whose name after West Side Story composer Don't Care, was officially diagnosed with colitis, and intravenous medications have certainly helped down the system. Happy to report that Lenny's doing better. Wow. I mean, I'm so happy for her. He's back to wanting to eat, which was my major concern. Whether you suggested pumpkin or second option, Reiki, or simply offered a prayer for the little man, thank you to the bottom of my heart. We're going to get back to that more. Of course, Zegler couldn't be more excited to play Argentine politician Eva Perón in Jamie Lloyd's revival of a stupid play that nobody's interested in except for a small section of people, apparently. June, July, and August, September, all awash with green good availability. Nobody wants to pay to see her. After her film, I think she's probably done. She's probably done in Hollywood. This is also why. How about you do it? Rachel Zegler begs fans for help with her sick dog, and it spectacularly backfires. Now relying on amateur pet doctors on social media, the actress shared an emotional update in her Instagram stories in hopes of finding a lasting remedy. Online users, however, said saw the post as an opportunity to call out the actress. She said her dog was sick, blah, blah, blah. While Lenny is still playful and shows no signs of internal issues, the West Side Story actress completely stressed out with her overseas flight just a few days away. Of course, here are some of the replies. One user said the actress was trying to get sympathy. She has to just start a conversation because she knows everyone hates her. She probably is doing this on purpose so people sympathize with her. Another agreed, using a pet to get sympathy from animal lovers is wild. A third slammed the actress, saying probably a side effect from the negative energy she's always putting out. I'd be sick too. Sounds like the dog could use a break from her. Wouldn't be surprised to hear the dog's doing better when she's left for overseas trip. I mean, this woman's career is absolutely cooked, and it couldn't have happened to a more disgusting person. This is what happens when you put that kind of energy out there, wishing no Trump supporter ever knows peace. When you pick fights with your own co-stars in a movie that you desperately need to make $400 million just to break even. The world is sick of people like Rachel Zegler, and I'm absolutely here for it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to get your private internet access VPN today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.